Today is Tuesday, April 11th, and this is going to be the midweek analysis on the Euro USD and to see how the trade that we're currently in is progressing. So right now, not that much action for Monday and Tuesday. Well, actually, I take that back. Today, actually, Tuesday, we had this big retracement. But let's go back and use the replay tool. Okay, let's see how we ended up the last week. So I was talking about going long in this area once we got right back into that median zone, that long-term median level. And once we started pulling to the upside with this candle, we ended up taking up a long or two long positions and let the market go. Now, I thought initially we were probably going to get a nice swift move to the upside to at least test this high up here. But of course, it pulled back and even faked down to the downside with a lower wick until it finally pushed all the way back up and then even made a push even higher. So I was still expecting a swift move to the upside, but again, this has been such a grind. Sometimes the Euro USD gets into this frustrating grind where it starts going sideways. But the funny thing about trading is that when you're in the moment, you start thinking that it's a slow grind. But once you look back in hindsight, it's like, well, the market was just doing what it's going to do, right? Nothing goes in a straight line, up or down. So sometimes it does, but most of the time it doesn't. But anyway, we'll go forward and see how this started progressing. Now, I started thinking twice about the long positions, even though they were still safe. They were back, down here in our stops. My stops are actually below this wick over here. And I started moving them up a little bit. So once we got this move to the downside, I said, okay, this is it's either trying to scare, people that went long over here, trying to scare them out, and even myself, right? Because once you're in a trade and you're in profit, whatever the amount is, whether it's 50 pips, 100 pips, 200 pips, and so forth, you don't want to give that back, right? It's happened to me many times, and I'm sure it's happened to you guys, those of you that have been trading for a while. That's going to happen sometimes, where you're in a trade and whether the market's going to reverse on you and you're going to give up some profit, right? You never, for the most part, you're never going to be 100% on point, where if you're aiming for 300 pips, you're going to get exactly 300 pips. Sometimes the market reverses and you end up with 250, which is still fine. But as long as the market doesn't all the way come down, now if it hits a break even level and you end up not making anything, even though that's extremely infuriating, frustrating to give all that back. But what's even more frustrating is to actually have that turn into a loss. So that's one thing you never want to do. Even if you give back your profits, you still want to be able to get out of that trade without giving up, a loss, which is terrible, right? But anyway, this move came down. It's a pretty significant move. I think this is about at one point it was 0.5%, which is about 50, a little bit more than 50 pips, and then finally retraced at the end of the day, which again, I always stress the fact you always got to wait till the end of the day, at least to the end of the daily candle, to see how that market's gonna, or how the day's gonna close and how that candle's gonna look. So it pushed back up, and I said, okay, I'll just give it room. It is what it is. And then we hit that nice reversal, which is right over here, right? This is a nice bullish candle that overtook this bearish candle and kind of made a statement that said, okay, the bulls are still, they're still rocking in this trade. And, the possibility of going much higher to our intended first target, which is one up here at 1.11, is still on point, right? So here we are now, and tomorrow we don't have any crazy. Although tomorrow we actually have CPI numbers. If we take a look at Forex Factory, you can see we have CPI numbers here, core CPI, and the FOMC meeting minutes, and then Thursday, we have PPI numbers, unemployment claims, and then Friday we have the core retail sales and so forth, right? So how much is that going to move the market? That's, you know, that's TBD. We don't know exactly how the market's going to respond to that. And the only thing we can do is manage our trade on the chart, right? Whatever we're looking at on the chart, we just have to manage and protect our position, number one, and number two, make sure that a profitable position doesn't turn into a loss. At worst case scenario, it should always be a break even turnaround if the market does go around. But one of the reasons why I stood confident into this trade and not try to make any rush decision and stay on the long side is if we look on the weekly, I was talking about this this broadening pattern or megaphone pattern, reversal wedge pattern. Either way, it's still the same thing. But once we start making that move, I said again, one of three things are going to happen. This market's either going to, I can actually draw this out, this market's either going to break out hard and there's no retracement, and it just continues about halfway of this move, or it's going to pull up, it's going to pull back, and then it's going to continue on to the upside, or it continues up, pulls back, messes around a little bit, comes down really deep, and then starts making a move to new highs. But in this case, it seems as of right now, it's making a nice move to the upside. It made that pullback into that pivotal zone, and it's slowly making a grind up to the first zone, which again, I was talking about the first target being 1.11. And then there's a likelihood that if we start trading above this, we just get into the next target, which is 1.15. So I want to see what this market's going to do. We already had 1, 2, 3, going into the fourth green week of this small trend, or I should say the continuation of a trend, right? Because this was the first leg, now pull back, and now it looks like it's starting its potential up move, right? So that's what's keeping me into this trade and just watching it for now. And it's actually pretty boring, right? Profitable trading, or waiting to see what the market's going to do, is just waiting to see how the market reacts from day to day, right? All you can do is just manage the trade and manage a risk. Those are the only things you can do once you're in a position. Other than that, you just have to, monitor what the market's, if there's more volatility, if there's maybe some news coming out. You don't necessarily have to follow the news, right? Because sometimes the market moves irrationally. The good news comes out and the market goes down. Bad news comes out and the market goes up. So you don't want to put too much weight into the numbers that come out, whatever the economic. Now the big days are of course like NFP, and you've got especially FOMC, or when the Federal Reserve comes out with interest rates, and Jerome Powell's talking about the economy and inflation and all that stuff. So those are the ones that are really significant, big impact in how the market's going to move. But for the most part, price action will really let you know and guide you, if you have the right tools and you're able to read it correctly, what you should do. Should you stay out? Should you stay in? And that gives you more confidence whether you should, put on additional trades, cut your losses, or just stay flat and wait for the market to give you a clear indication of what it wants to do. So in this case, the Euro USD right now, it looks like it found the bottom here, although I'm still wary of these. I don't know if you guys can see this. You see this gap down here? There's two gaps. Actually, three gaps. One over here, one very slight one over here, and another slight one right over here. So even though the market likes to close these gaps, sometimes a gap can stay open for weeks, months, even in some case years. So you never want to go by that 100%, but that's always something to consider. And if we do rally up here, which is always a possibility, depending on this pattern from what I've seen, there's a gap all the way back here from February 2022 that the market might go up and close this and make that this is about a 62% move of this pattern. So if you go back to the daily chart, right now there's not much to do. Oh, I just moved this for a second. Hold on. Okay, there we go. there's not much to do other than wait to see how how this candle is going to perform. Are we going to break above these candle highs over here? Or are we going to test or break these highs over here? And right now it's looking like this is, this is the base of that pullback. If I zoom back on the daily chart, you can see this initial, up move here. Or if I take that back, actually, I just draw a straight line up here, this pullback, and then hopefully we get that trend continuation. Right now, positions are up about 160 pips, and so we're holding on to that to see if we can extend that to over 200 pips, and then above this, we'll be looking at the possibility of about 500 to 700 pips. But don't want to get too far into it, so we'll just play it day by day. I wouldn't be surprised if this pulls back into the red tomorrow and then it continues higher. But of course, always want to make as much profits as we can, as fast as we can, right? That's our natural inclination to want the market to do something as fast as possible so that we can close the trade and book profits. That's the whole point, right? So yeah, that's gonna be where we're gonna leave at. We have to see what happens here again. We have CPI numbers, right? That we'll see if this market makes a strong push to the upside or it pulls back once again. But I'm feeling fairly confident in this candle, even though this made a nice pullback. The market recovered nicely on this green candle here, and right now we have to see how this market's going to react going forward for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that's going to be the analysis for the Euro USD, see how these positions play out. Hopefully we can get up here and we start booking some profits, and then we can readjust and see or reevaluate the analysis and see how we see if we're going to make that push to 1.15. If you guys enjoyed this, definitely subscribe and like. It really helps the channel grow. And also, if you guys are interested, I'll have the link in the description. I created a PDF guide which has gotten a lot of good feedback. People really enjoyed it. It's called the Elite Guide. This is what the page looks like. 7 reasons why elite Forex traders crush the competition. A lot of this is based on my own experiences, traders that I've met over the years who have helped me significantly over the past almost 15 years now trading. And it has really, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things that I've figured out over time that has helped my trading significantly. This mostly has to do with, well, necessarily not just Forex, but just trading in general. And I really feel like it could help you. So if you're interested in that, just head to the link in the description. Just enter your info here, hit download, and you automatically get an email on that PDF. And if quickly I can show you, this is what it looks like. Okay, you have your PDF here and a whole big write-up all through this whole PDF, right? You get all this information, and it can really help and benefit you if you're interested in that. If you like, you can actually go to the website, the main website, internaltrader.com, and you can, well, actually I don't have it up right now, but there's a link there as well if you would like to download it from there. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully we continue to the upside and continue to trend and book some profits, and we'll see what happens towards the end of the week on Friday. I may actually start doing pre-market on Sundays, videos for the pre-market, what's going to happen up ahead. But I'll determine that after a while. We'll see if I'm able to have time and put those videos together. So if you have any questions, you guys can always reach out to me either in the comments or head to internaltrader.com, shoot me a message. I'm always here, willing to help out many traders who are struggling and need that guidance to really turn their trading around. Now, to give generic information, which you can find through the internet, getting a boatload of knowledge is not going to equate to being able to actually apply those things and start making profits in the way that you want to, right? So I can definitely help with that. So again, if you're interested, shoot over to internaltrader.com, and I'll see you guys in the very next video. Take care.